Okay, so a couple of days ago, during a game between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Pittsburgh Penguins, the sports analysts over there, they announced a trade that didn't even happen. Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. It was all just a Twitter hoax, one big sham. They got fooled by the good old social media. This was a trade which sent Ben Chiarot of the Montreal Canadiens over to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it was pretty wild. So, let's go ahead and have a look at the trade in question, shall we? But first, before we begin, if you're a fan of the Habs, or you buy your Newfie steak by the roll, then please consider subscribing to my channel, as I upload a ton of hockey content, and would really enjoy having some more of you grasshoppers tag along for the ride. Now, let's go ahead and paint the screen with lies here. Some trickster, made it seem like this trade actually went down. They did a good job, look at it, it looks pretty legit. And for a minute or two, this one actually fooled the entire world, especially the lads down there in Tampa and Pittsburgh. So here's what we got. The Montreal Canadiens sent defenseman Ben Chiarot to the Toronto Maple Leafs along with the third-round pick in this year's draft in exchange for Toronto's first-rounder this year, Bill Nye's kid, Matthew Nyes, and Topi Niemela. And let me tell you, if this really was the real deal, it would have been one hell of a deal for the Canadiens. Kyle Dubas would have gotten fleeced. But just reading it, it doesn't sound right already. It has fake written all over it. North Korea's very own Ri Chun-hee. North Korea, no, it was Hawks. It was Hawks. Because the Maple Leaf would never trade a Denmark for a big, stupid, big Ben Chiarot. Who's an idiot? Raise your hand. Because you would have to be to give up that much for Ben Chiarot. I know he's good, guys. He is. Especially in the playoffs. But come on. Let's get real here. I ventured out into the wild and I spoke to a couple of Maple Leaf fans. And none of them seemed happy with this one, They would have been coughing up goat urine for days if this had actually gone down. Yeah, the first round draft pick, that's a given, If the Leafs are planning on doing anything big at the trade deadline at all, that first round draft pick is likely in play. But it's the combination of other things. You got the first rounder, you got Bill Nye's kid, Matthew Nyes, you got Topi Salmonella, or whatever the hell his name is. That is a lot to give up. That fan base, they are pumped for Matthew Nyes. He's a big, promising power forward, something that's, nice to have in the system. He was drafted in the second round in 2021 by the Leafs, and yeah, shit's crazy, right? Shit's crazy. And if that isn't enough, throw in salmonella poison on top of the whole deal, Topi Niemela to top things off. Let's take a look at the old Pokedex again here so I can tell you all about this Pokemon. He's a third-round draft pick from 2019, and he's a Finnish offensive defenseman. He's putting up quite a few points this year for his team, Carpet. He's got 30 points in 41 games. For a third-rounder, he ain't looking too bad at all right now. Really, the only real complaint about this guy is he's a bit on the short side for a defenseman. But short or not, those are some pretty impressive numbers. And besides, you put him side by side with Cole Caulfield and he still looks like a skyscraper. So, while this fake trade may have actually fooled people across the hockey world, I personally think it's a lot. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. If you're a Leafs fan, please give me your input as well. Do you think that acquiring Uncle Ben is worth that much? How much are you willing to pay? Because taking a look at Chiarot's statistics here, he's got 7 goals and 8 assists so far this year and a pocket full of minor penalties. But I think it's kind of interesting, we got to point this out. That while the Canadiens, they don't score nearly as many goals as the Maple Leafs, somehow Ben Chiarot right now has more goals than any defenseman on the Leafs blue line. Let that one sink in for a minute. It's kind of cool, Just figured I'd point that out. He's having a really good year, and as much as it sickens me to say this, I think for the Toronto Maple Leafs, it makes a lot of sense to try and acquire Ben Chiarot. He's a beast in the playoffs, he's miserable to play against. Just ask Austin Matthews over here. But moving on, let's talk about what I think would be more of a fair trade. I think straight up, Ben Chiarot for a 2022 first round draft pick is sufficient. Or hey, maybe even a second round draft pick and that Bill Nye's kid, If that was possible. Because the more I see him, the more I want him. I've got a soft spot for power forwards, Leave me alone. That's why I don't want to see Josh Anderson leave. Anyway, guys, that does it for this one. How unfair do you think the original proposed trade was? Which, of course, turned out to be a lie. Rate it for me out of 10. How unfair was that? Don't forget to shoot the nail off of the thumb of that like button on the way out of here. And hey, yeah, I'm out of here. We're done.